Hello, welcome to Finextra.com. I'm Debbie Bell-Hosking, and with me is Marc Terry of VocaLink.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Today we're talking about real-time payment services. There's been a lot of interest in this area. What does the market look like globally?
Well, obviously VocaLink is primarily a UK-based company, but in the last couple of years we have spent a lot of time talking and advertising, if you like, the fact that real-time is alive and kicking in the UK since Faster Payments was created. So a lot of interest has now begun, if you like, around the world, and there are many reports that are being written about the benefits of moving towards this real-time structure. But in terms of adoption, I think it is quite mixed. The UK obviously is very advanced because Faster Payments has been around for a number of years now. And we've recently put in a real-time system into Singapore, known as FAST, F-A-S-T. And so those two things in themselves are causing a lot of interest. And then in addition to that, we're moving now into Australia, where they've already issued an RFP to do certain specific real-time things, including mobile and extensions to value-added services. Other countries around the world are expressing interest. America has already issued a consultation document. Canada, we've been talking to the central authority in Canada. And in addition to that, the Middle East is the latest, if you like, to come up with some new ideas around scheme structure and a movement towards faster payments. So in the world of payments, real time is very vogue at the moment, I would say.
So what do countries need to consider if they want to embark on real-time payments?
I think you have to consider real time as a foundation layer. It's not an end in itself. It creates opportunity and structure upon which you can build other things and take full advantage of that capability. It is very important, I think, that the regulator or the central bank or the payments association of that country sponsors the initiative, because the fundamental benefit is about the ubiquitous nature of the payment structure. So collaboration is key, and often the bridging of the gap between competition and collaboration really falls to an independent authority such as the Bank Association of the particular country. So it's important that they get that kind of political momentum to drive it forward. Creation of the foundation is second. And then some of the background payment structures need to be modified too, in order to allow that better access to the real-time structure. What we have at the moment, I think, in the UK is a good example of a very solid foundation, which we are now beginning to build upon. So recently, in fact, as recently as this month, the PayM service was launched, which uses faster payments to connect through a mobile phone as a proxy, phone number, bank account and sort code. And what that literally means is I can pay you in real time just by knowing your phone number, providing obviously that you've subscribed to the service with your individual bank. It's independent of bank, it's independent of phone, it's independent of app, but it's about the bank providing that service and using a real-time structure. So things are changing. As I said, building on the foundation, certainly Singapore already are looking at other things they can add on top of the infrastructure now that's out.
Now, Marc, you mentioned earlier Singapore and UK. I mean, have we learned any key things from these two regions?
I think the key thing, I mean, if I just go back to some of the fundamentals, if you like, around when one tries to put in a creative payments infrastructure, it is not as simple as selling something to a bank. You're literally selling to the country a new innovation. And our biggest lesson, I think, in Singapore was to ensure that we had the right level of political momentum. I mentioned it earlier. And that's sponsorship from the central bank. In Singapore's case, it was the Monetary Authority. And there was an ambition for the country, actually, to lead the way in that region. And for me, spending a lot of time over there, working with the technology and working with our partners on the ground to build this solution, really highlighted the need for that open, transparent and collaborative dialogue amongst all the 14 banks that would be participating. And it's not easy to do that, but it's very important that you identify that early on in the process. So from a lesson learned as we move forward into other countries to implement this kind of service, I think one of the first things we will be suggesting is that that structure, that governance structure is put in place at a very early stage, and that all the banks are participating and all of the banks enter in with a collaborative mindset, but in the knowledge that once the infrastructure is created, then the competitive elements can now be brought to the front, because they can compete around the services they offer.
So we're talking structures, we're talking a lot of participants, we're talking competitiveness. What does the future look like?
I think the future is very interesting for this kind of initiative, and the reason is, you know, everybody talks a lot at the moment about mobile as being the next wave. And the statistics do bear that out to a large extent. I mean, a Juniper report recently said that the mobile business is worth about 500 billion in payment terms, which is 40% over the previous year. So there's a huge, almost hockey stick effect in uptake of the channel for payments being the mobile phone. So for me, the real-time foundation structure creates a superb layer upon which to build these additional services. PayM in the UK, as I mentioned earlier, launched this month, demonstrates a value-added service on top of a real-time infrastructure, that being faster payments. We also, as VocaLink, have launched, we have a new company effectively called Zap, which has within its offering a number of use cases that will sit on top of a real-time infrastructure. Better services for billers, better services for e-commerce using the mobile phone as a channel, better services for small merchants. All of these things we can bring to bear because the fundamental foundation is laid in the ground. And this, I believe, will be what the world will see as being a good driving force and reason to move into real time.
Well, thank you, Marc. On that positive note for real-time payments, may I say thank you for joining us.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
And thank you for watching.